I'm back from New York. I'm back in Antalya. And people ask me, would I move to New York? Would I live in New York? It's been 2 weeks and they were definitely exciting. The city is absolutely fantastic. It's full of energy, full of vibrant people who go there to realize their ambition. And people who ask me probably dream of moving to New York and doing something in New York. People ask me a lot of questions, but in this video I will just answer this particular one because it will help a lot of people. There are many fantasies, there are many ideas which people have, but you have to be realistic. New York is expensive and it is demanding. And if you made this far, subscribe, leave some comment, leave some likes, and share this video with somebody who may benefit of it. Walking the streets of New York, I took some shots, I had some thoughts. I think there are two types of people who succeed in New York if they move there. It is either people who absolutely love that city, and how do you know if you love it unless you actually spend some time there? And the other type of people who move there to realize their ambition. By that I mean there are certain places which attract certain talent, and those people, they're like two rocks. When they hit each other, the sparks flying and something good happens. Those are the two type of people which will survive in New York, which will succeed in New York. But it's expensive. As I said, my son rents apartment in New York and it's $3,500 per month. And that's after tax money. And there is no way to wiggle out of it. To pay that, you really have to have a substantial salary. You really have to hustle. If you have good education, if you can get a good job, great. You can afford it. Because let me tell you about him. He's a programmer and he's an artist. When he was graduating from high school, he asked me, what do I think about him becoming an artist? I told him, you gotta get a profession because I cannot support you all your life. There is a joke going in New York about people who want to work for advertisement agency. It's an old joke. Basically they're saying, can your parents afford you working for advertisement agency? The salaries are not that great. And there are plenty of people who have substantial amount of money and maybe living off family trust, where they receive money for absolutely no reason but being a member of the family. Those people can live anywhere, including New York. For me, I like several cities. I like St. Petersburg, Russia, I like Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and I like New York. That's where I go to church. I like slow space of Antalya. I like being able to get on a bicycle right there by the sea and go to some cafes. Just like everywhere, there are pluses and minuses. But I miss this energy. I need to go every so often just to charge myself, just to see other kind of people, just to refresh my perception, to get some ideas. And New York is something that you really have to be in good health. There are people who say that you can get around, etc. But New York is very demanding. If you have to move around city, you have to be in pretty decent shape, even if you don't work out. That is something you have to prepare for yourself. The other thing is, if you work in New York, if you don't work for yourself, but if you work somewhere, that means traveling. Are you prepared to travel in a subway, on a bus? New York is full of strange people. Anybody can fit in New York, that's for sure. But can you tolerate just about anybody? There are some crazy people walking the streets, and there are some crazy people who dress in a very strange way. Anything goes. That's what New York is all about. So the most important question for every one of us coming of this base: where do you want to be in 5 years or 10 years or 7 years? Where do you want to be in extended period of time? Do you want to be in New York? Do you want to be living in New York? Or are you thinking about going in and out, just making some money and coming out? Because if you think in that way, you probably will not succeed. You have to prepare yourself for something that will fulfill you in 5 years, 10 years, 7 years, something like that. Once you answer this question, the other question will arise. What resources do you have? What can you do to fulfill your ambition to get you where you want to be in 5, 7, 10 years? If you don't have enough resources, you have to gain them, you have to map your journey, and you have to go. That's how I see it. Lots of people dream, but they dream infinitely and they get nowhere. And that is probably not a way to go. As humans, we are wired in a certain way, and we are wired to have challenges. If you live in Antalya all your life and you do nothing, well, you have no challenges. You start coming up with all sorts of strange, crazy, funny ideas just to entertain yourself. That's how our brain is wired. Our brain is wired to resolve the issues, to resolve the challenges. If you know that, then perhaps you keep yourself active and you continue doing what you're doing. If you don't, you may get in trouble. And the third question which comes out of it, are you looking at reality? Are you living in a fantasy, or are you looking at reality? Because going to New York or any other country, immigrating, will bring new challenges, it will bring new opportunities, but nothing will turn out the way you really envision. And nothing is more permanent than temporary solution. If you move into a place such as New York or any other place for 5, 7, 10 years, you may stay there for 20, 25, or 30. Life actually takes you with it. The wave which you ride may take you much further than you expected. To get out of it is not that easy. I had a friend who lived in New York. He went there for short duration, and it took him a long time before he got out of it. And many of you guys who watch me in United States, in UK and other places, you went there perhaps for a certain time. You thought that I'm gonna make money and then I move on, but life keeps you there. And making decision to get out of there is not that easy. It's like you get in the bottle, and if you're skinny, you look around, everybody is fat, you're saying like, am I any worse than them? I want to get fat. And if you get fat, you cannot get out of that bottle. You will be there. That's just how life evolves. So New York is a great place to realize your dream. If you're an artist, if you want to take some instructions from the great photographers, painters, actors, that would be a great place to go. You can get those instructions. Will you succeed? If you don't try, you never will. But if you try, you may succeed marginally, or you may succeed much, much more than you expected. You just have to try. But you have to stay realistic. You cannot live in a fantasy. If you go there, you have to be prepared. You have to have your resources. You have to speak the language. You have to have money. You have to have ideas, and perhaps you have to open to the world so you can actually communicate. Because if you hide in Antalya or any other places for a long time and you fantasizing that you will become next great Hollywood star, it's probably not going to happen unless you go to Hollywood and not to New York. In New York, well, there are some great actors who do some acting and singing and performing in Broadway shows, but if you want to be in the movies, perhaps there are some other places, and Antalya is actually one of them too, but you have to go where the life is. You have to shoot where the ducks fly, and that's what the message is. Would I move to New York? I would say that I'm not entirely opposed to that idea, but I really don't have that ambition to realize. New York is not the only place where I could live, and for me right now, I can just go there for a couple of weeks, have a good time, and go elsewhere. That's just like that. And I love the fact that I can travel right now. I can go here and there. The prices in New York right now for many things are cheaper than in Antalya. I'm talking about produce, I'm talking about industrial goods, clothes, shoes. You can buy it cheaper in New York than you buy in Antalya. And quality, in many times, it's much better than what you buy in Antalya, because Turkey, in a way, it has a lot of customs duties. So goods which are brought from abroad, they are substantially more expensive. And goods which are produced in Turkey are not always at par. Sometimes they're great, and oftentimes they're not. That is the problem for me. Like certain things which I'm used to buying, I have to go to Europe or I have to go to United States just to acquire, because here I cannot find even the cloth, the color of the clothes. It could be pretty well built, but the color is not the same which I can buy elsewhere, and I'm really looking for a certain shade of the color, because that is the energy which I feel, that is the energy which I need. For me, Antalya is great if I have ability to travel around. Moving to New York, perhaps if I gain another idea or something that I want to do and I can realize only in New York, sure, I would move to New York. I'm Vas, welcome to my channel. Good luck.